Hi, I'm Ari Kalmanson with Santa Fe Mac. And here at Santa Fe Mac, we have taken on an incredible new adventure. I have brought with me 50 desktop computers to Guatemala, and I'm in the process of giving the computers away to schools, orphanages, and other nonprofits. One of the wonderful things about Guatemala is the culture and the beautiful people here. And as technology introduces itself into this culture, it becomes ever more apparent that we need to learn how to preserve that culture. And that means that technology can't be something that came from somewhere else. It has to be something that comes from Guatemala. And that's what I'm here to do. I've been living and traveling in Guatemala for 23 years. I speak the language and I'm familiar with the cultures. 3 of my 4 brothers were adopted in this country, and most of the money that I went to school on and lived on came from a business exporting Guatemalan clothing, folk art, and antiques. So I feel like this culture has helped support me, and I feel like it's my turn to help support this culture. Giving things away is wonderful, and it makes me feel warm inside, as I'm sure it has for you. But it doesn't always create the solutions we're looking for. The need for technology in this country far exceeds the philanthropic thrust of most of the developed nations. What's needed here is an immense change, and a change that's grassroots, that comes from Guatemala for Guatemala. And that's what I'm here to do. Part of the project, which is a later development, has come from the bringing my own business down here as well. Santa Fe Mac is a refurbished sales company. We purchase from laboratories, schools, companies, and we assure that all the previous user data is erased. We load a new operating system and we sell the computers. Here in Latin America, the price point for Macintosh as a new computer system is too much for 90% of the population. So in order to integrate Macintosh OS and the basic hardware, a lower price spectrum is needed. These refurbished computers fit the bill, and will introduce these people to the best operating system in the world, Mac. So what I'm here doing is opening the doors. Because of Macintosh's increased purchasing capacity, now Mac is the largest company in the world, which means they buy hundreds of millions of every part when they purchase, and the prices are dropping drastically. And at some point, it's going to drop into that range where they're going to be competitive with even the lowest priced, shoddiest product on the market. This means more people will buy Mac in countries where it was otherwise inaccessible for their economic restraints. So now is an opportunity for me to come into the country and create a growth-oriented business that's providing education, training. Later on, we'll be providing sales, service, the whole 9 yards. When there's a problem with a Macintosh computer, we're the people who fix it. So how does this relate to the computers I'm giving away? Well, let me give you a little bit of a background on the company. I purchased these computers from one of my warehousing associates with the specific intent of giving them away to Guatemalan schools and municipal organizations. Once I made the decision to come down here, and once I did the investigation into the Latin American economy and the changes within Mac's purchasing capacity, it became very apparent that this was not only a good social decision, but a good business opportunity for me to come to Guatemala and open up Santa Fe Mac here. Now, immediately I'm looking at these donations and making sure that they're all going to the right places. And I realize that there's this vast open area of technologically free schools. They have no computers, they have no calculators. And it's time for these kids between the ages of 4 and 8 to have the opportunity to learn how computers work. When a culture is imported into another culture, it takes over. It's a disease. When a culture comes into another culture and it becomes a part of that culture, that's when true growth takes place. Here in Guatemala, those children between the ages of 4 and 8 years old, when they have the opportunity to use the computers, to understand the systems and how they work, the later developments from those children when they become adults and they're writing applications, web pages, when they're doing design work, they will not be using imported designs, imported products, imported ideas. They will be using their own, because the introduction to this technology happened at a young enough age where it's part of their society, it's part of their culture. And that means that more of their cultural heritage will be preserved because they were introduced young to these computers. So Santa Fe Mac loves 50 computers. It's a great gift, and it's going to be a token in the giant barrel that is the need for Guatemalan technology. So what are we going to do? Well, I have these wonderful computers. I have these amazing prices. And I also have some connections here with the Guatemalan government. So I'm beginning right now to work with representatives of different municipalities to get the contracts to put these refurbished computers in the schools here. The price point for me is pretty small, but I will make some money and it will help develop the business. The true growth potential and the true way that I can finance this operation is to provide service contracts to the government for these computers. The service contracts means I need representatives who can go into these small villages and fix these computers. Well, training is what I'm starting. Foundation of this business has always been education. I will educate young native Guatemalans on the process of repair, installations of operating systems, as well as some of the fine-tuning and some of the training that they themselves can offer to the kids. I've already hired people to start on, and they're going to be going into the schools and they're going to be showing children how to use computers. It's an incredible opportunity, and right now I'm paying for it, but hopefully the business will pick up enough that the business begins to pay for it. So with these trained professionals, I'm starting to look at all these opportunities. I'm thinking these guys they're not just going to want to repair, they're going to want to build a website. They're going to want to learn how Java works. They're going to want to create a program that translates the native Indian languages, Cachiquel, Quiche, and Zutuil, into Spanish, and later how to translate that Spanish into English. And they're going to want to be able to write these programs themselves. Well, fortunately, I work with Mac, and Mac is absolutely incredible. They're providing the educational tools now that are needed to create these types of programs without any prior background in computer technology. So this opportunity is truly phenomenal and is truly going to change this world. So by pulling from the group of trained repair professionals and technicians, those people who really have their grasp on how computer systems work, I will be able to provide them free education in coding and in HTML and in basic use of the computer for design and implementation of current projects. So this means that we'll have students coming out of the school who are educated on all of their needs to help their friends, help businesses, create businesses that are internet-based, web-based, and Mac-based. So these students are the cream of the crop. These are the guys that are going to go out and they're going to change this country. And not only are they going to be taking the education that they have, which is a ground level foundation in how to write the code, how to program the different applications, and how to build educational materials that can be spread around this country to help benefit these kids, they're also going to be doing it as a home-based idea. We're not going to be importing or exporting any other cultures. This will be their heritage and their turn to create something on these computers that is their own. So Mac is here and I am here to help this country and to get these kids what they need to educate themselves. You can help. There are ways that other people can help. There are funding issues, there are logistics issues from shipping out of the US. There are things that still have to be worked on. I am currently dealing with most of the problems, and I'm currently funding the project through some of the different resources that I put aside during the last year of business in New Mexico. taking your time to see this project is worth it. We will be providing trips to Guatemala. I have travel agents who will organize all the hotels. We'll make sure that you're staying in safe places. We'll make sure that you get to go up and see these kids and photograph them as they begin to learn how computers work. So if you have an interest in seeing how the world is developing outside the US with technology, now is a great opportunity to come to Guatemala, which is one of the most photogenic places in the world, and see it for yourself. So give me a call anytime. My email address is santafemac@me.com.